everybody. Welcome back to 5-Star Live right here at South-Doyle High School, where the Cherokees knocked off defending state champion Central 38-10 tonight, joined by Elijah Young, running back / quarterback tonight at South-Doyle. 30 carries, 252 yards, 5 touchdowns. Now gives him 32 rushing touchdowns on the season. But Elijah, we were talking, this is the first time that you've ever had to line up at quarterback at South-Doyle. When did you learn about that today, and how did you approach it?
A lot of film. Especially being around my QBs or quarterbacks, telling me what the play is, what to call for the line, everything right there.
Tonight it's just gushing rain. You're a running back. You know how to handle the football in conditions like this, but how difficult was it to hold on to the football where everybody knows you're going to run it, everybody's coming at you trying to poke the ball out or do whatever. You didn't fumble once tonight, not that I saw. How difficult was that tonight?
That was the main key is ball protection. You know, from the snap, make sure you get it in, and then right there go with the play.
Did you ever feel comfortable back there tonight, having never played quarterback, no Wildcat packages? Did you ever get comfortable back there?
I loved it.
You loved it? All right. I mean, maybe something we see going forward, but for you guys, you had Mason Brain get hurt. You had the ejection call in the Seymour game, the loss to Anderson County. There's 3 big things that kind of went wrong for y'all, but you're still region champions. What does that do in terms of you guys being able to just kind of reset, saying, okay, we're good, or we still got the 1 seed, now let's go make some big things happen in the playoffs? How do y'all do that?
Coaches meet on Sundays. We come in and practice on Mondays, execute, watch film, and then we just go from there.
How do you think you'll get graded on film as quarterback? QB1 tonight.
I don't know.
But in terms of looking back to last year in this game against Central, y'all kind of fell flat, and kind of the season kind of went down after that. Did y'all take motivation for that coming into tonight?
Absolutely. That was a big key. We know it's going to be a great team coming out. Bigger rivals, everything right there.
Well, Elijah, congratulations on the win. I'll shake your hand here. Thanks for hanging out with us on 5-Star Live. We're going to pass the mic off to Clark Duncan, the head football coach at South-Doyle High School, and get him in here. Clark still around? Yeah, there he is. How'd your rain suit hold up tonight?
Oh man, I am dry underneath. This suit was great, man.
Congratulations on the win, 38-10 over Central. And Jaywan Mitchell, my co-host, and I were talking. Tonight wasn't more so about execution and X and O's. Was it more so just about ball control, don't mess up, and then take advantage of the 1 or 2 opportunities that you do get?
Well, first of all, you're exactly right. It's blocking and tackling, but it goes back to, our kicker, Ewan Johnson, did a phenomenal job of flipping the field and giving them tough field position. And then defensively, we played so good. But offensively, we ran our offense. Elijah Young, that dadgum guy, he wants to play nose tackle, he wants to be on a punt block, he wants to play quarterback. He can do it all. We ran our offense, and it's something we found that we could do. We've ran some Wildcat stuff, and in the past we hadn't run it during the season, but we practiced it all the time. And our offensive staff just, they made a decision that we're going to come in and do this and see how it goes. And amazing what our offensive line did. Our offensive line are just, veteran guys, and it was a great night.
Jared, you can run some highlights of the game as we continue to talk with Clark Duncan after a 38-10 win over Central High School, who came into this game with a 21-game win streak. But Clark, the weather can be a great equalizer sometimes. Dakota Fulver, their quarterback, just wasn't able to throw the football tonight, and that had to make it a little bit easier for the defense to kind of key in on the run game.
Well, yeah, you're right. Dakota's a great proven quarterback and has done some really good things. I think conditions did limit them in some things. Field position limited them to what they could do, we just kept them in a hold most of the time where they just any offense is going to be conservative, in weather like this, and fortunately we made some plays.
You talked about the decision to run Elijah Young as Wildcat quarterback and leave him in there all game. At what point, was it yesterday? Was it this afternoon at lunch at school? Like, when did y'all decide, okay, this is our best bet?
Last Sunday. Yeah, Sunday. We went into, our offensive staff. Coach Parton does he's one of the best offensive coaches I've ever been around. Jay Winter, our defensive coach, does a great job. great coach. But our offensive staff decided that this gave us our best bet to run the football. It gave us 2 skilled kids back there that could run. We just didn't know. They do such a great job stopping the run. They're gonna put 9, 10 in the box sometimes, and we just felt like we had to have an equalizer, and so Sunday was the decision. We practiced all week, but we weren't 100% sure what we were going to start in until Wednesday, and we made the decision that we'll start our NASCAR offense on Friday night.
So I posed this question to Elijah. I'll bring it to you too. You had the Mason Brang injury. You guys had the Anderson County loss, and then the Seymour loss with the targeting. 3 kind of major obstacles, if you will. Nevertheless, y'all are still region champions now. How does that help you guys going forward, kind of hit the reset button and say, okay, we got one of our smaller goals, the bigger stuff's still out there?
Right. I watched this practice this week, and I sit back sometimes and am just amazed at, number one, again, our staff, what a great job they do of getting our guys. We practice. If you came and watch us practice, it's clockwork, and it's great stuff, and our guys are flying around, and I'm watching us practice. I'm saying, man, I don't know what's going to happen Friday night, but I know that the bigger picture is we got a chance to make a run at this thing because we are very talented and we work our tails off all the time. And so, yeah, it's just, it's great to be, we hit adversity, and we talk about all the time about hitting adversity and how do we respond to it. And we did. We hit some adversity. When Mason got hurt, our players were almost in mourning because they believe in Mason so much, and that next week, and we just struggled, and but then we had the mishap, a few weeks ago, which we won't talk about, but we just feel like we feel like we can compete with anybody, and if you've got a chance to compete, then you got a chance,
Going forward, of course, you got Powell next week, and they had a miraculous comeback last night on Rivalry Thursday, knocking off Oak Ridge there in the final seconds of the game. I know that's a game that has special meaning to you given your past there, but I know you want to put stock into it because it's a 5A game against a team that's probably going to be somewhere in y'all's road in the playoffs, but how do you also not put all your eggs in that basket, given that the playoffs around the corner?
Yeah, we talked about momentum last year. We hit a wall. Mm-hmm. Central hit us in the mouth, and we didn't respond well, and we suffered the next week, and just carried through to the playoffs. So you want that momentum, you want that, and so. Next week's a big game. Win or lose, we got to play well. We got to stay injury-free and then get into the playoffs. Anybody that can survive the playoffs is probably going to see Central round. There's a great chance you'll see Central again round 3, and there's going to be a Power West or in that semifinal. So this is a big game for us just because it's the scoreboard's going to come on, and so we're going to play.
All right. Well, Clark, thanks so much for joining us. Congratulations on the win. Region championship for South-Doyle. Is Mason Brang still around?
Mason is.
All right, let's get Mason in here. All right.
Thank you.
All right, joined by South-Doyle quarterback Mason Brang. How you doing, man?
Good. How are you?
Good. What was tonight like for you? Watching Elijah Young line up at quarterback, a guy that you're used to handing the ball off to. Did you coach him at all? Give him pointers about just how to receive snaps? Anything?
Well, I gave him a few pointers yesterday during practices when we really started using it, and so I gave him a few pointers just to point some things out at what he could do, and then the conditions tonight really made him play the entire time, and it was just an amazing scene to watch. We were champions of the
and I'll get you to kind of hold the mic up a little higher just so everybody watching at home or watching on their cell phone or whatever can hear. But for you this season, I know it hasn't gone as planned, and oftentimes in life that happens. At what point did you kind of finally accept it? I'm going to move on. I'm going to make the best of this and help my football team in any way I can.
Really, after the Anderson County game, I still was thinking about it all throughout that week of surgery. And then after that, I had to realize, okay, I need to help this team in a way that I wasn't before. And so I tried to become the best leader I could possibly be for our guys and just show them the most support.
What kind of relationship have you had with Nick Barton, a sophomore quarterback who we're going to get to see a lot of over the next few years in terms of just trying to help him in any way you can?
Yes, sir. We have a great relationship. We talk all the time during practice. When the defense is on the field, we're talking about things that we see. I watch film, try to help him if I can point out anything, and then the coaches do a great job as well.
I know you recently just had the screws taken out, and you're started the rehabilitation process. I know that can go either way. It's kind of hard to predict, but just kind of what all is going on in your life, just behind closed doors that people don't get to see, of you working trying to get back to help the football team.
Yes, sir. So I got the screws out yesterday. Gonna go through rehab, just do the best I can to get back. So.
All right. Well, man, I wanted to have you up here tonight just to just to kind of check in with you, because I think, as Clark said, everybody in the locker room kind of mourned when it happened. For us in the media, we never want to see that either. You
Yes,
want to
sir.
see always get the seniors out there, and so we really hope the best for you. Hopefully, South-Doyle kind of makes a long run. You
Yes,
can get
sir.
back out there at some point. But thanks so much for joining
Thank
us
you.
on 5 Star Live
Thank you for
tonight.
having
And
me.
you guys stay with us. We're going to take a commercial break. We're going to come back and look around the area, get some scores, some stats, some highlights. We're going to review this game some more. So stick with us right here on 5 Star Live. Welcome back, everybody, to 5 Star Live here at South-Doyle High School, where, again, the Cherokees knocked off Central, the defending state champions, in 5A, 38-10, ended their 21-game win streak. You heard the interviews there with the players, with the coaches. Elijah Young never played quarterback, never had a Wildcat package here at South-Doyle, which is mind-boggling. But tonight, what are your thoughts on how he handled the situation?
I mean, it's mind-blowing to hear that, like he had no experience behind the Wildcat and put in that kind of position as a quarterback. He handled it like a pro.
Yeah.
Like you said, he had us thinking like he had to have done this sometime before in his career.
Yeah, so I think it was a smart decision by the South-Doyle coaching staff, again, to put their senior guy back there, their best player, put him back there. He's used to ball security, ball control.
Definitely.
He's used to guys stripping the ball and trying to strip the ball, poke the ball out, and I didn't see him fumble tonight. Now, after it got out of hand, I quit watching a little bit and tried to stay a little bit warm, but during the crunch moments, in the first 2 or 3 quarters, I never saw him put the ball on the ground.
No, he never put the ball on the ground. He never gave the defense an opportunity to, strip that ball, punch the ball out. He's really smart when it came to that. And like you said, that was smart on the Cherokees' end to just understand the situation. Like, hey, this is not going to be a throwing game. We're not going to be successful in the air. So let's put our best player in position to make plays and make things happen. That's what he did.
You saw that touchdown run from Elijah Young, just sick touchdown run. And Central, 4 fumbles in the first half, lost 2. South-Doyle really controlled the momentum throughout the first half, but they're late in the second quarter. Central kicks a field goal, kind of regains the momentum, regains the lead, but they left a little too much time on the clock. Ezra Young returns a kickoff deep into Central territory. Next play, 25-yard touchdown by Elijah Young. They come out of the half, boom, another Elijah Young touchdown, and from that point, it just felt like game over.
Oh, yeah, they established, like I said, they established their position real quick. They put their, like you say, when you got your opponent down at a certain point, you put your foot on their throat and you keep them from breathing, and they made sure they did that.
I hate that it rained tonight. I know for South-Doyle fans, they love it.
It was great. It was perfect.
That would play right into
Couldn't have
their
been no
hands.
better for 'em.
But we didn't get to see the true Central offense.
No,
Dakota
we didn't.
Fulvers used to be able to throw the football. He used to be able to roll out, make plays with his feet, or throw on the run. They couldn't really do that tonight. We got to see Central a few weeks back against Seymour, and this just wasn't their true self. But that happens in football.
Yeah, you have to be able to adjust. Like you know it's gonna rain. You know it's gonna be heavy rain. You know it's not gonna be dry out there. We can do a lot of things that you like to do. So you have to be able to adjust and make things happen on the fly. You know what I'm saying? South-Doyle, they made their adjustments by using a wildcat to their advantage.
Yeah.
And so if you're Central, unfortunately, like you said, you couldn't get it to your key players because you can't throw it like you want to, and you can't do a lot of run a lot of the plays that have made you successful throughout the season. So you have to figure out what's your niche and what you have to adjust to make things happen.
We saw the weather affect not just this game, but pretty much every game in the area, and not just affect the games, but affect the way that they played.
Yeah.
Maryville threw 4 passes tonight, 4, and they completed 1. Cade Chambers is used to throwing 15, 20 times a game, so they had to adjust what they did. They still won 30-0 over McMinn County and limited Jalen Hunt, their star running back, to I think about 40 yards, 2 yards per carry. So that Maryville defense does what Maryville defense does, and they stay atop their region standings. But you look at CAK and Grace. Grace Christian loves to throw the football under Rusty Bradley. Until the last minute of the game, they had 2 points.
Wow.
I mean, it's just
that speaks volumes. Like you say, the elements of the weather. Hey, it makes teams have to adjust the way that they play, because you don't want to take those chances in the air, because you know it can turn out bad for you.
and a lot of region championships decided tonight in this weather, and so I think that's why you saw some people like Anderson County and East Hamilton move their game to Thursday to try to play for that region, that number 1 seed, in ideal conditions. But
level the playing ground
playing
for
field.
them,
Let's show you what we do, our best against your best.
Yeah.
But unfortunately tonight, weather happens, and you can't always get the way. You know, if South-Doyle had their brothers, they'd have Mason Brang starting out there at quarterback.
Hey,
so
that's
just football.
Yeah, things happen, and you have to be able to overcome the adversity and figure it out.
It didn't seem to affect Alcoa at all.
Wow.
49-0. They've shut out 7 teams this year in 9 games.
Wow.
They're allowing 3.44 points per game.
Wow, that's crazy. That's some serious defense.
7 out of their last 8 opponents have been shut out. Gatlinburg-Pittman, this is one of the best Gatlinburg-Pittman teams I've seen in their program history since I've been covering it. They have good quarterback play. They got size on the line. They have a good running back. They have good receivers, good guys in the secondary. 49-0.
And that just means absolutely nothing to the Tornadoes.
Yeah, I mean,
man.
to Alcoa, it doesn't mean anything. And so this
just
speaks
kind of
about
what kind of team they are.
This kind of weather, that's typical, you know, Alcoa football. And so Alcoa, they face Dobbins Bennett next week. Dobbins Bennett shocked tonight by Science Hill. Not a very good Science Hill team. We saw them against Catholic, and Dobbins Bennett falls tonight. So weather creates kind of crazy things tonight. So we'll see if Alcoa can get their 8th shutout next week against a really good Dobbins Bennett team, who's really been one of the better teams in 6A. So I don't know. Maybe we do 5-Star Live out there next week.
Hey, that'll be interesting. That'll be nice.
So it's a
Change it up some.
Yeah, it's a good warm-up test for Alcoa as they go for their 5th consecutive state championship. Warming up with the Dobbins Bennett team, a 6A power that's been in the state rankings all season long. So we'll see how they handle that. Hey, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to look around the area some more, give you some scores, some stats. So stay with us right here on 5-Star Live. Last segment coming up. Welcome back to 5-Star Live here at South-Doyle High School, where again the Cherokees knocked off defending state champion Central High School 38-10. Elijah Young, 30 carries, 252 yards, 5 touchdowns. He now has 1,600 yards on the year. He now has 32 touchdowns through 7-8 games. You remember that the targeting call had him ejected there in the Seymour. Mr. Football?
Oh, definitely. I don't see anybody else even close to him. Like he makes it happen week after week, and he's just big time.
Yeah, so
simple as that.
I think from a local area perspective, in terms of 5A teams, you look at Powell, it's kind of all spread out. Walker Trusley's having a nice year at quarterback, but I don't think at the same kind of conversation as what Elijah Young is doing. You look at West, Isaiah Mattress got off to a great start this year. He's been hampered by injury. I don't think he played very much tonight against Fulton, so that'll be something that we monitor going forward. Oak Ridge, Central, I just don't think there's anybody else out there in 5A, at least in East Tennessee.
Yeah.
I know Davy Crockett has a really nice quarterback that was in the mix for it last year in Cade Larkins, but I just think it's Elijah Young.
I think it's him overwhelmingly as well. I mean, just look at his stats, man. He averages, 10 and a half yards per carry, 192 yards a game. Like, that's big time. Like, and like you say, he had a game off, and he's still nowhere. There's no one close to him.
Keandre Jarman, sophomore running back from Catholic High School, had his 4th 100-yard game in a row tonight. He rushed for 126 yards. Catholic got a much-needed win on the road against a really good Brentwood High team that was a one-loss team. It's not a region game. They're going to need to knock off Father Ryan next week. But, Jawan, it's just weird to be at this point heading into Week 11 and talking about Catholic needing to win and other people to lose to get them into the playoffs.
Yeah, I know that has not been the case these last several years, and so them moving up in this division and playing in this tough division, it's showing like how serious this division is, and what type of teams that they're playing and coming up against.
Yeah, I mean they showed well against Innsworth. They got blown out by McCauley. They bounced back. They beat Brentwood Academy. They nearly knock off Baylor. So just hadn't had that one win that's kind of secured their spot in the playoffs, so that'll be something that we look at further tonight and as we get into Week 11. I can't for the life of me figure out Farragut High School football. We watched them win games. We watched them lose head scratchers. I don't know if the weather came into play at all tonight. I know they have a lot of injuries. When we covered that Bearden game, I mean, there were guys up and down that sideline that were in cast, on crutches, in slings.
Just walking wounded all over the place.
And they still found a way to beat Bearden in that game. But tonight, against a one-win Hardin Valley team, they got smoked. They got blown out. I mean, it was like 33-6. So now Farragut, who was in the number 2 spot in that region, sees Science Hill knock off Dobbins Bennett. So now it's kind of getting a log jam up there, and it's just I don't know. I can't figure out Farragut. We saw them in the preseason. That's where we did our very first 5-Star Live at that Greenville scrimmage.
Did. I remember
and
that
they
one.
looked great.
Yeah.
And then they lose at Dobbins Bennett, and I can't figure them out.
Man, it's just one of those crazy seasons for them. Like, they're just on a roller coaster. Like you say, at one point they're on their high, and then at the next point they're on their lowest. It's just like it's just one of those, like you said, head scratcher seasons where you're just like, man.
Clinton gets his first win of the year tonight. Who did they beat? Campbell County. I think it was 12-7 was the final there. West, as we mentioned, knocked off Fulton, and Tommy Sweat. We saw him in person. We saw him just get pushed down, knocked down. He has to dust off his pants, go back out there, play defense, play at safety. He gets injured tonight. I think as a kind of a lower extremity injury. It'd be something that we check on with Rob Black, and you hate to see it because he's one of the area's better basketball players too, but that guy is just giving his all for Fulton this season.
Yeah, man, when you have those kind of players right there who's just a dog, man, it's going to give you everything they got on both sides of the ball. And like you say, he's scratching, he's clawing for everything. And a player like that on your team is a big significance. It means a big significance to your team. So it's unfortunate that he's hurt, but hopefully he'll have a speedy recovery.
Yeah.
And if they do make it to the playoffs, he'll be ready for that.
Yeah, I mean, Fulton was kind of right there on the cusp of doing some things in terms of making the playoffs. Yeah. This win or this loss tonight to West is certainly going to set them back a little bit, so that we'll look at those standings next week and all the playoff scenarios scenarios will come out on TSSAA.org or TSSAAsports.com. They'll have all those scenarios about this team needs to win and this team needs to lose for this team to get into this seeding. So it'll be kind of a crazy playoff show next week. We might just set up in a studio somewhere and kind of like have the playoff headquarters, stay warm, and just kind of monitor, be like our war room kind of deal.
Hey, that'll be really interesting. I think all the viewers and watchers would love that. Yeah. That'll be an interesting take.
Now let me think on that. It took me a while to decide this week where we're going to go.
I know.
I saw all that rain, and I was like, we got to go somewhere where there's cover.
It's not looking too good.
Halls picked up a big-time win on the road at Sevier County. Halls football is 6-3 going into the last week of the regular season under first-year coach Scott Cummings. Who would have thought?
I was going to say the same thing. Like, that's mind-blowing, and it's super exciting, especially for somebody like me who used to be under the Coach Scott Cummings. That's awesome to see him take this team to another level.
At one point, Jake Parris, their running back, again, we've told this story a number of times. He was a wide receiver, kind of secondary guy last year. They moved him to running back, and he had 5 touchdowns at one point tonight in the third quarter. I don't know what he finished up with, but just to see guys being shuffled around, moved into this kind of veer offense that Scott runs, and accept it. I mean,
yes.
that's what it's all about. They have to believe in it.
Definitely. Yeah, and like you said, receiving these different changes and not letting it sweat them and just doing what it takes for the team to win. That's all that matters, and they're doing that, and they're successful.
We saw Seymour get absolutely blown out at Central High School. I mean, it was a mercy rule game. I had Scott Branton down at the Knoxville Quarterback Club on Monday with their running back and gave him kind of a shout-out in front of everybody. They won again tonight. They've won like 4 games in a row and are going into the last week of the regular season, I think, at 5-4. I mean, what you saw that night compared to what they're doing now it's I can't describe it.
It's night and day.
Yeah.
It's night and day. But one thing I can say about Seymour, even though Central gave it to him that game, they had a lot of fight. You know, you can see a lot of potential in them. And so sometimes it takes that kick in the mouth and that kick in the head to say, wake up call to get you going. And that seemed like that's what happened with them.
Big win for Gibbs High School tonight, 28-12 over Carter. Gibbs is one of those sneaky teams with their triple option offense. They got Troy Davis at quarterback. They have Ethan Humphreys at running back. You don't want to see that team in the playoffs. You hate defending that type of offense, and I wouldn't want Gibbs in the first round if I'm anybody.
Wow, they're definitely a wild card sleeper, and if you take them lightly, they'll give you a wake-up call real quick.
Yeah, so congrats to Brad Turner and the Gibbs Eagles there. Loudon wins on Thursday night 49-7. I mentioned earlier Powell getting that big win over Oak Ridge last night on Rivalry Thursday, and that was a Powell team. I don't know if they had that kind of natural letdown after that emotional win over West. You had an emotional win over West, quick turnaround for a Thursday game, and they just looked sluggish in the first half and really into the third quarter. But their seniors, Colton Webb on the defensive line, their senior quarterback, Walker Trusley, their senior wide receiver, Tyler Kirkus, those were the guys, along with J.J. Faust, the freshman wide receiver, making some plays here and there. But late when it mattered, their seniors kind of rose to the occasion and willed them to a victory.
That's what you got to have in those situations. When it seems like the team is sluggish or they're not on their A game, you got to have your veterans step up. Those guys that's been around, experienced a lot throughout the seasons and the years, come in and step up and say, hey, look, it's not looking good right now, but we can make plays and make things happen, and so we got to hold the team up, and that's what they did.
Yeah, Walker Trusley, 2 short yardage touchdowns there in the fourth quarter, and then Oak Ridge dropped an easy interception that would have sent the game into overtime.
Wow.
Powell gets a second chance. Walker Trusley scrambles around, throws a strike to Tyler Kirkus, and the Oak Ridge's defender is chasing. And if this is the football, his fingertip is right here. I mean, he's just an inch
close
from knocking it away
close.
and it going into overtime. But Powell made the plays. They're having a remarkable season, 9-0, and they'll be coming to South-Doyle next week for a really big football game. That should be fun to watch.
Yeah, that's going to be an interesting one. And, you know, they've just been having big game after big game after big game at the end of this season. And one thing I've learned about Powell is you cannot give them second chances because they will make you pay for it.
No, I mean, you think back to the end of the West game. You know, West is driving there late in the fourth quarter. They put the football on the ground.
And Powell takes advantage of it, and they end up on top.
Are they using up all their luck in the regular season?
I don't know.
I don't know. We'll see.
Maybe that's their strength,
Yeah, so they had, like you said, they had a number of kind of close, kind of emotional games, and all kind of going in Powell's way right now. So shout out to the Panthers as they'll continue to move up the state rankings. So that's going to do it for us tonight out here at South-Doyle High School. The rain finally stopped once everybody left. 38-10 South-Doyle. Congrats to the Cherokees for winning a Region 2 5A championship. We'll see if they can parlay that into some 5A playoff success. We'll know that here in a couple of weeks when the first round commences. But for Jaywan Mitchell, for myself, Jesse Smithy, thanks so much for watching us on 5 Star Live. We'll see you next week talking playoffs.